Hello again, everybody, and welcome to this week's edition of the Railsplitter Athletics Report as we close out the month of February, March right around the corner, and with that, hopefully some drier conditions out there on the outdoor fields for the LMU softball team, baseball team, men's and women's tennis, and of course golf, and March Madness now ready for the Lincoln Memorial University basketball teams. We're going to tell you a little bit about that later on in the show. Josh Schertz will be our guest on the second part of the show, and we've got a lot to talk about in terms of men's basketball. But our first guest tonight will be Natalie Layden, and we're going to be talking Lady Railsplitters softball. Lady Railsplitters 10-2 over about the last week, and that's just unbelievable. We're going to talk to her about the Lady Railsplitters season start and, of course, the upcoming weekend. They'll be in tournament play this weekend, and they've got a very, very tough slate ahead of them. Also, we've got some scores from LMU baseball action that we'll tell you about toward the end of the show, as well as some LMU tennis action from the past week. It's all coming up next. And I will tell you that this coming Saturday night in the Tex Turner Arena, the Lincoln Memorial University men's and women's basketball teams will play their final regular season home games, and that's going to be against Catawba College. It's senior night, and we're asking that everybody come out and show their support of the Lincoln Memorial University seniors that have given so much to this program over their period of time here on the campus. So do join us Saturday night in the Tex Turner Arena, 6 and 8 o'clock tip-off. We'll take a time out. We'll come back with Natalie Layden when we return here on the Railsplitter Athletics Report.
Sigmund Communications is your local radio and television stations bringing your local information, local news, and the best music from yesterday and today. Sigmund Communications was established in 1987 on the campus of Lincoln Memorial University. Since then, we have been involved in community events and other projects. Sigmund Communications is not only your local radio and television stations, but we are a learning facility aimed at educating students in the field of broadcast communications. Sigmund Communications, not just the great building with satellites that sits on the hill.
We're now MediaStream, bringing home to you more and more improvements. As your hometown team, we're dedicated to bringing our friends and neighbors more service upgrades than ever before. Always available 24/7 customer service and technical support. 30-day money-back guarantee on services. Improved bundles that will save you money. Get ready to do more of the things you love with the people you love and with savings you'll love. Call 1-800-392-2662 for details. MediaStream, bringing it home to you.
Bringing it home to you.
Since 1973, DeRoyal has been a leader and an innovator in manufacturing products for the healthcare industry. DeRoyal supplies more than 20,000 products and product lines such as acute care, orthopedics, wound care, and trauma. DeRoyal is proud to be the largest supplier of orthopedic soft goods to clinics and hospitals in the nation. Since its start in Tazewell, Tennessee, DeRoyal has grown to open factories in over 29 locations worldwide and employs over 2,000 people. DeRoyal, a name you can trust and an employer you can count on.
Looking for efficient, compassionate, and comprehensive health care for you and your family? Visit University Medical Clinic. All providers are faculty members of LMU's DeBusk College of Osteopathic Medicine and are board certified in their specialty. Multiple specialties available including family medicine, pediatrics, OBGYN, and osteopathic manipulative medicine, with locations in Harrogate, Tazewell, and New Tazewell, and most insurance plans accepted. University Medical Clinic is here to serve you. Call 423-869-7193 for an appointment. University Medical Clinic.
Well, despite the weather outside, you wouldn't know it, but softball season is in full swing, and Natalie Layden and her team are off to a great start for the 2013 spring schedule. Coach, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
And well, let's talk about the last week. I mean, you've been on just a sick run here over the last 12 games. You've won 10 of those, and some pretty strong competition, especially up in that Louisville tournament this past weekend.
Yeah, we've played some good softball here lately. Definitely have some room for improvement, no doubt about that. But we've done enough to come out with some wins and play some good competition. Our bats are still doing what they need to be doing. We've had some step-ups from, freshman pitcher Samantha Smith, who threw 17 innings on Sunday for us, which was really big for her. Offensively, we're getting our table setters on, and our power hitters are doing their jobs and putting some runs across the board.
Let's talk about that 17 innings. Now, if that were a baseball player, you're throwing overhanded, that's really tough on the shoulder. The underhanded pitch is still fast pitch, but it's a little more of a natural motion. It's still hard on the shoulder, but I don't think as hard.
Right. More so, you'll get fatigue in your legs than you will your arm or your shoulder. Being that it is a natural motion, you can throw as long as you're in shape to throw. Now, and that's where it stops you.
As a hitter, maybe I need to have Coach Batts here talking about this, but I'm sure you can tell us as well. As a hitter, when you see a person out there in the circle for 17 innings, I mean, you're going to see pretty much everything they've got over and over and over, but they've got to have some pretty good stuff to go out there and be successful.
Absolutely. It's all about keeping hitters off balance. You know, you can throw the same pitcher 3 games in a row if you would like, but the sequencing of how things are thrown and the deception that they use in change of speeds and that kind of thing will make them effective.
Now, in this league, I know that several years ago, the big thing coming up, oh, the rise ball, the rise ball. If you've got a rise ball, nobody can hit it. Let's talk about what we see in this league right now.
Right now in our league, we've got a little bit of everything. I think we graduated some good pitching last year in our conference, so I don't see the pitching as dominant as it has been in the past 3 or 4 years. But I do feel that the offense is still going to be there, of course. We're a hitting conference, no doubt about that. And so it's just all about keeping them off balance, getting the easy outs, so our defense can get off the field and, take our strength to the plate.
What about the pitchers and the speeds that we're talking about? I mean, what are we looking at, about 60 to 64, somewhere in that area?
Right, on average. And then you have some of the other pitchers that they try to throw in there to throw you off, are anywhere between 54 and 57. So those, when you see that and then you see a 60 to 64 mile an hour pitch, it can definitely be can throw you off at times, but it's good.
If I'm in the circle, folks, don't worry about it. It's like throwing Little League batting practice, I'm sure, because I've got one pitch and it does the same thing. It just falls to the plate. It barely gets across. Let's go back about a week or so. You picked up a doubleheader sweep of Lees McRae on the 14th of February. 5 innings on the first one, 8-0. 5 innings on the second, 11-0. Pretty big run rules there. And I know that there was a game, I think it was the 10-2 decision, a game or two later, a series or two later against Virginia Intermont. You got out to a 10-2 start. There was one where you got off to somewhat of a slow start in game 2, but you came away with the victory in that one as well. Yeah,
we've done that in several of our games this year. It seems like a switch comes on once we get behind, but our team mentally is tough, and, they understand how to fight through situations and what it takes to win the ball game. So, initially in the beginning, I think they hit the panic button when we got behind. Now that they're used to it and we've dealt with some adversity up to this point, it's just another day at work.
The wins over Lees McRae, the wins over Limestone, which we haven't mentioned, 8-7, and lost to 5-2. Those are all regional games. Virginia Intermont, I think, is still NAI at this point, so that one not counting in the region column. Milligan as well, but Wes Holly, he's a guy who's somewhat of a legend in East Tennessee softball coaching, and I look here and you take him in 6 innings, 8-0. I think that's the first one I was talking about, and then the second game, 10-0 in 5 innings. Right. 2 more big wins.
Absolutely. And he definitely has a competitive ball club. There's no doubt about that. We came out and outplayed that day. Not to say, it's one of their first games out on the field as well. So I'm sure as the season goes on, they'll continue to get better. Mentality-wise, it's good for our athletes with Virginia Intermont, being swept by them last year and coming back with 2 this year. We're really starting to change the mentality of our program, so hopefully we can continue that fight through conference.
All right, now let's go back to the weekend that I was talking about. You started out up there in Louisville at the Bellarmine Classic with Ashland University. They're from up there in northern Ohio area, about an hour south of Cleveland. You picked up a 2-1 win to open the Classic. Then Bellarmine, the host team, beat you 3-0. What happened in the second game there?
The second game there, we had a bad pitch in the 6th inning. Other than that, our offense wasn't necessarily on slow pitching, threw the timing off, that kind of thing. But with that, we gave up a 3-run home run in the 6th inning and just couldn't come back from it. Beating Ashland, a super regional team who was 42-17 last year, is, 2 really big wins for us on the weekend.
Yeah, Ashland's second game, you take a very hard-fought 5-4 decision in 10 innings. It showed a lot of guts for your team to win that one.
Absolutely. It was a big one for them. And I think, the last few games have really showed them that they can win some ball games, and help their mentality and their confidence going into conference.
And then Bellarmine, you close out the weekend with a 4-1 win over the Knights up there, and of course that was a 2-game sweep of them up there in their own Classic. That had to be pretty pleasing for you.
It was definitely pleasing. We were excited.
All right, King College was on the slate this past week. As you can see, folks, throughout the tri-state area, the weather was okay back when this footage was shot, but the Bellarmine doubleheader got pushed back to March 14th. It will be played. That too will be a regional matchup, and of course King rather, is a regional matchup, and that is out of the Conference Carolinas. It'll be a doubleheader, and I'm assuming that'll still be played in Bristol, Tennessee on
Absolutely.
the 14th?
Yep.
Okay, so that takes us into the upcoming weekend. You've got a big Mid-South Classic coming up down in Duncan, South Carolina. on tap. You'll have Lander, Augusta State, Erskine, Mount Olive, and King. So you'll see King before you actually play them on the 14th, but some stiff competition in this weekend's tournament.
Absolutely. A lot of regional ranked teams. We go into a thick part of our schedule this weekend. We treat it a lot like the conference tournament. You know, it's about survive and advance, and that's kind of what we're looking to do each game. Day by day is go through and survive and advance each game.
12-8 overall. The South Atlantic Conference schedule doesn't begin for a couple of weeks now. I think you'll get cranked up on the 13th against, actually the 9th against Wingate.
Yeah.
Coach, having played the games that you've played now, you've played 20 different games. What is it about this team that you feel they need to work on the most?
Just getting used to each other, getting used to the system, getting used to situations. You know, we've even had rules nights and things like that, so we start to understand the game a little bit better, taking advantage of situations. That's like, you know, there's a foul tip one day in our game the other day, and we had 2 stolen bases on it because we knew that's a live ball where the other team never even made a throw. You know, little things like that we're still trying to work on and put us a little bit further, a step ahead of our competition.
Now, this is your first year at the helm as a head coach, but you've been around softball for a long time. Looking at it from a coaching standpoint, what kind of chemistry do you think this team's got?
I think we have really good chemistry at this point. You know, that's something that at first was a little rocky, especially with new coaching staff, new players, and, you know, there's a lot of new changes made. But at this point, we're definitely starting to come together and play more as a unit, which is a good time for it to happen. Now,
I know as you watch your team play, you're also in the process of evaluating them and saying, okay, hey, we need this down the line. You can't really comment on individuals that you've signed, or actually, if you'd had paperwork in, you could, but commitments and so forth. What are the needs for this team in the future?
One of the needs is depth. You know, right now we're 14 players on our team, and 9 of them have to start. So depth is definitely something that we're looking to get. Also some utility athletes that we can move around and make the best offensive lineup that we can without sacrificing a whole lot defensively. So we're really looking to go up the middle, move those players around a little bit. You know, we're looking to bring in somewhere 8 and 9 this upcoming class and finish our 14s 3 or 4 in the next few weeks.
Give us a prelude into the upcoming conference schedule. Obviously, we know that there is some tough competition out there. Carson Newman's our in-state rival. They're always real strong. I noticed where they rolled over one of our common opponents the other day. So what do you foresee in the upcoming future as far as the conference?
Yeah, there's a lot of parity in our conference this year. You know, teams that typically the past 3 years that have dominated up to this point are not dominating this year. You know, so that's something to look at. Carson Newman's off to a great start as well. I think once we get a little bit more into it, we'll kind of see what our team can do in our conference. But I think we'll put up a good fight.
Looking forward to opening the SAC schedule against Wingate?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Folks, I'd love to be right there for that one. That's on March 9th. That'll be here at home, by the way, on Dorothy Neely Field. So you got to come on out and show your support for Natalie Layden as she takes on somewhat of her alma mater. She was an assistant coach there, and I know that that's going to be an interesting matchup, Coach. Looking forward to it.
That it will.
Coach, I want to thank you for stopping by with us for this evening's show, and want to wish you the best of luck this weekend in that tournament down in Duncan, South Carolina.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Good luck. Natalie Layden and the Lady Railsplitters again taking on Lander University in the opening game of that classic. They'll take on Augusta State, Erskine, Mount Olive, and King before it's all over, and that's all this coming weekend. We're going to take this time out. We'll be back with Josh Schertz right after this on the Railsplitter Athletics Report. Stay with us.
I will help families adopt children from around the world and in our own backyard.
I am teaching ethics to the next generation of lawyers.
I will make a difference for the underserved of this region.
I will be an advocate for my clients.
As a prosecutor, I fought for those who couldn't speak for themselves.
I'm a lawyer and professor.
I will be a lawyer.
I will be a lawyer.
I will be a lawyer.
I guess we'll take Morty. Yes.
Pick last. Ouch. A vault will put you back on top. Quenches and kicks. Incoming! Yeah! You're a super soda mercenary! Vault. Drinks like a soda, kicks like an energy drink. Get to it!
History comes alive at the Abraham Lincoln Library and Museum on the campus of Lincoln Memorial University in Harrogate, Tennessee. Located 60 miles north of Knoxville and 5 minutes from the entrance of Cumberland Gap National Historic Park, the museum is home of one of the largest privately held Lincoln collections in the country.
A place to learn and play. My museum includes interactive exhibits as well as special events and educational programs. For more information, go to www.lmunet.edu.
We represent the Coke brand. We would like to sue Coca-Cola Zero.
Would you say that we have a case?
For what?
For taste infringement.
We want to just sue them back to the Stone Age to send a message that they're tampering with really the flagship of the company.
It's one company. It's like you suing yourself.
Yeah.
But they're on a different part of our floor.
Da, 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 da.
Oh, well, I was checking out some things there, and they failed to tell me that we were back. Back once again on the Railsplitter Athletics Report. Josh Schertz, head coach of the Lincoln Memorial University Railsplitters. And folks, he was our guest last week on the show. Let me tell you a few things that have happened since that time. Since that time, he and the Railsplitters have won back-to-back games against Lenore Ryan, of course, on Saturday. That was here at home in the Tex Turner Arena, 73-64 the final. They traveled out to Wingate, North Carolina on Wednesday evening and knocked off the Bulldogs 63-60. Now, what did that do? Well, that just guaranteed them at the very least, a share of the South Atlantic Conference regular season title. It also guaranteed them the #1 spot in the upcoming South Atlantic Conference tournament. And if they can run the table throughout the rest of the regular season, which would be a win this Saturday night over Catawba College, they would go into the SAC tournament not only as the #1 seed, but as the outright South Atlantic Conference regular season champion. Coach, congratulations. What else can you do before the regular season's over?
Well, this would, the win over Catawba would be the only thing left, and that would certainly put us not having to share the title with anybody. But you talk about guys earning a ring, and these guys, whatever happens Saturday, obviously, they are going to be South Atlantic Conference champions. And what they went through to earn that ring was unbelievable over the last few months. And don't know if I've been prouder of a team. Last night I was incredibly proud of them to go in and play a really good Wingate team in a really tough environment, and then to have Wally go down the first 6-7 minutes of the game with a knee injury. Just to be able to fight, to be resilient. We lost Jake to foul trouble. We were kind of, piecemealing together for a while out there. I think we were playing for some of the half with 2 freshmen, with Kurt McMillan and Tim Pierce out there. And guys are just battling, scratching, and clawing. And, but so proud of how hard they've worked, how committed they've been, and was really, really happy. That was a really happy locker room, probably the happiest locker room I've been in my 15 years of coaching, just because of how much they put into it, how hard it was to win it, and so it makes it even more special. Every title's special. The one we won 2 years ago was special, but we kind of blew the doors off there, won the league by 4 games, and we're head and shoulders above. This year's team's been totally different because the margin's been pretty narrow, and we've just managed to kind of gut out, win after win after win, but we've been at our best in the big games, and this group loves the moment, and yesterday was one of those moments.
Coach, we've had some incredibly tough runs that we've had to make throughout the year on the various stretches of this schedule, but this one in particular, to face off against Anderson. Well, let's go back to Brevard and Newberry. Let's go to Brevard, Newberry, Brevard, Anderson, Carson Newman, Lenore Ryan, and now to go into the doghouse over there at Wingate. You said that we were in the first half. We had Jake Troyley lost to foul trouble. He had a couple of fouls on him while he goes down with an injury. That leaves Vincent Bailey as the primary workhorse in the paint, and I like the comment that you had in the post game. It was a man's game.
Yeah, it was we call those big boy games, and you gotta get man rebounds. You gotta make man plays the rim. Nothing's given. There's no angles in the post. You make plays in that game. You got to be a man to make them. And Vinny was fantastic. Dustin, I thought, was fantastic for us. Craig, obviously Cam Carter made big plays. I thought Lorenzo played pretty well. We had guys step up and do things. And then defensively, Chance Jones came in and gave us really good minutes. I think Tim they didn't score, but they gave us defensive minutes. And not having Wally out there, we needed those guys to step up, and they did. And, you just you look out there and we told them, I think we had to make Wingate play bad, you know, and I thought we did a good job of taking away their strength, which is their interior game, and forcing them to make perimeter shots. And we wound up in the first half, we were just doubling number 5, Deion Turman went to double in both posts. In the second half, Odell Turner and Deion Turman. And that requires a lot of energy because you're constantly in rotations, because while you're double teaming their post player, your other 3 guys are playing 3 versus 4. And you have to rotate out and be really smart and sound. And for our guys to manage to do that for 40 minutes is a credit to them. And then to make stops and get rebounds and just kind of do the things necessary to make the plays to win, because that was a tough environment. Obviously, they had a great crowd, and Brian's got a great team. So unbelievably proud of those guys, and to win a game like that. We talk about embracing the moment, embracing challenges, and the 4 teams you just mentioned, we're on a 5-game winning streak, but the last 4 teams all had above a 700 winning percentage. I mean, nobody in the country played that type of schedule down the stretch. We talked about that could be we're either going to play our way in or play our way out, and obviously we've done a pretty good job of playing our way in.
You mentioned a minute ago that you double teamed Turman in the first half, and then of course Odell Turner and Turman in the second half. And I think when I think of that, I think what makes it even more incredibly difficult is the fact that, you know, Brian Good is a smart coach. He's a good coach, and he prepares his team knowing that you're going to come out there and do that because you've done it in the past. Yet you're still able to accomplish that and shut them down in the second half.
Well, I think it's you know, when you do that, what you're giving up is going to be if they make threes, and they didn't make shots last night, you know, and that's what the gamble is. You know, we got to gamble on them not making shots. When you double team the post, if they get it out, which they did, then they gotta knock down a perimeter jumper. You know, when you're coaching, you try to find, when you're scouting a team, you take a team, you try to take away their strengths, whether it's an individual great player, try to find a way to limit him, or if it's something they do as a team, you try to kind of find a way to, for lack of a better term, make them play left-handed, you know, and take away how they're going to beat you and try to make them beat you a different way if you can. And that doesn't always work, but, you know, Brian's team, you know, they missed shots, and that was what we were trying to force them to do, was take and make some threes, and we knew they were a streaky three-point shooting team, and last night they happened to be streaking in the wrong direction. So, you know, had they made some, obviously would have had to probably change our strategy, but we were fortunate both times this year it's worked out, and I'm sure we'll see them again here at some point. So not looking forward to that either, but you know, but they're I told Brian at the game, you know, they're a team that if they're in the NCAA tournament, I think they got a chance to make a deep run because they have all the, you know, they're great defensively, they got great interior play, they're tremendously athletic on the perimeter. I mean, they've got all the pieces to be an elite team.
All right, of course, the Railsplitters now guaranteed the top spot in the upcoming SAC tournament for the #1 seed. They have a share of the regular season title now. If you win on Saturday against Catawba, you take the outright regular season title. But, Coach, there's even more at stake. If you win Saturday, I think there's a really above-average chance that LMU is going to go into the NCAA regional tournament, regardless of what happens in the SAC, as the #1 seed, and may very well get to host it.
Yeah, I think that's a reasonable assumption. We've played an unbelievably difficult schedule. We've navigated that schedule, and you want to be the #1 seed. You know, we've been close the last few years, haven't quite got done. I think we were 2 and 4 the last 2 years in the NCAA tournament, but a chance to host a regional here in Harrogate and play the games inside of Tex would be unbelievable, not only for us, but I think for the community. And so certainly we want to, you know, we want to finish off and play well against Catawba Saturday, and then go in the conference tournament and try to, you know, gain some momentum, because that's, you know, we always say the most important season's the postseason, and we got a chance to gain some momentum going in there.
A little side note to the win on Wednesday night, and I want to point this out. Cam Carden, 4-year starter for the Railsplitters, one of Josh Shirt's first signees, one of the first that he brought in. Came in actually as a redshirt transfer from Stetson. He surpassed the 1,000-point mark for his career. And I know, Coach, that's a huge milestone, not only for Cam Carden, but for you as a coach. Yeah,
you always love to see guys get that. It's just a number, a big number. And I think he's the 4th or 5th guy we've had over the last few years get that with, you know, DeMario and Desmond and Brandon. And maybe the 4th guy, Cam, now 4. Unbelievable credit to him. He came in as not really a guy that, you know, was heralded or touted, and he's been an absolute glue piece for us over the last 4 years. Makes shots, does everything, and you know, he'll go out, he'll graduate as the winningest player in school history, along with Wally and Dustin, and that's when I think of Cam Carter and I think winner. I mean, that's, you know, the points, he's second all time in threes, but when I think of him, I think a guy who will do anything to win, and he's an absolute winner.
We got about 30 seconds left, Coach. Saturday night, you're going to be saying goodbye to and, of course, Dustin Craig and, you know, Jake Troyley and Wally Jones who are all
Simpson.
seniors, and it'll be their final regular season home game in the Tex Tournament.
Hope everybody comes out and supports them. Those guys have really done an unbelievable job with Lincoln Memorial University basketball. Last year's seniors, this year's seniors, given a lot to this university, a lot to the area, brought tremendous exposure. Hopefully we come out and support them, and our guys will send them off the right way, and I'd like to see our fans do the same.
Coach, good luck Saturday.
Thanks, Russ.
Railsplitters and Indians, Saturday night, 8 o'clock, Tex Turner Arena. It's going to be a fight, folks. I think we might be cutting down some nets at the end of the night. Hopefully we will. Good luck to Josh Schertz and the team, and we're going to take this time out. We'll be back to close out the show. Stay with us.
Nestled at the foot of the Cumberland Gap, Lincoln Memorial University honors the vision and spirit of Abraham Lincoln. Lincoln's values are perfectly in sync with the modern educational experience at LMU. Our students find personal attention as a way of life and a way to success. If Lincoln Memorial University fits your vision of college, visit our website at lmunet.edu for more information.
Sigmund Communications is your local radio and television stations bringing your local information, local news, and the best music from yesterday and today. Sigmund Communications was established in 1987 on the campus of Lincoln Memorial University. Since then, we have been involved in community events and other projects. Sigmund Communications is not only your local radio and television stations, but we are a learning facility aimed at educating students in the field of broadcast communications. Sigmund Communications, not just the great building with satellites that sits on the hill.
We're now MediaStream, bringing home to you more and more improvements. As your hometown team, we're dedicated to bringing our friends and neighbors more service upgrades than ever before. Always available 24/7 customer service and technical support. 30-day money-back guarantee on services. Improved bundles that will save you money. Get ready to do more of the things you love with the people you love and with savings you'll love. Call 1-800-392-2662 for details. MediaStream, bringing it home to you.
Bringing it home to you.
Again, special thanks to Natalie Layden and Josh Schertz for joining us on the show tonight. Last weekend, the Lincoln Memorial University baseball team picked up their second consecutive South Atlantic Conference tournament win, or actually series win, not tournament play. They won 2-1 over Mars Hill, winning the opening game 13-3, dropping game 2 6-3, and winning game 3, believe it or not, in 14 innings 3-2. Railsplitters were scheduled for a game with King this week. They got it in on Wednesday. They lost that one, if you can believe that, 13-12 over in Bristol, Tennessee against the Tornado. They'll be in a 3-game set this weekend against Tusculum College. LMU men's and women's tennis teams both victorious this past week. The teams picking up victories over King College. The LMU women 8-1, the men 7-2. The Railsplitters and Lady Railsplitters winning in conference play against Catawba 5-4 and 6-3. That's all the time we have for this week, folks. Until next week, I'm Rusty Peace. Good night, everybody.